2014, the world's largest Bitcoin exchange goes dark. Site offline, Twitter deleted, offices empty, 650,000 Bitcoins gone. At the time, it was a tragedy worth $460 million. People lost their life savings. Suicide hotlines were posted on Reddit. The media declared Bitcoin dead. But today, those missing coins would be worth over $40 billion. It remains the largest theft in financial history. And the craziest part, for 2 years, no one noticed. The bank vault was open and hackers were walking in and out day after day. But there is a twist that no one saw coming. The victims, the people who lost everything in 2014, are finally getting paid. After a decade of legal hell, they are recovering only 21% of their coins. But because Bitcoin has exploded in value, that 21% is now worth 40 times their original investment. This is the story of Mt. Gox, a company built by accident, managed by incompetence, and destroyed by a theft so slow, so obvious, it should have been impossible. To understand the disaster, we have to go back to 2007, before Bitcoin even existed. A programmer named Jed McCaleb bought a domain, emptygox.com. Magic, the gathering online exchange. His idea? A stock market for fantasy playing cards, like the Nasdaq, but for wizards and goblins. It launched, it failed, he abandoned it. It sat dormant for 3 years, until 2010. McCaleb discovered Bitcoin. The entire community was tiny, maybe 3,000 people. There was no infrastructure, no Coinbase, no Binance, no easy way to buy or sell. If you wanted Bitcoin, you had to find a guy on a forum and hope he didn't scam you. So McCaleb reactivated the old domain. He hacked together some code in a few weeks, and on July 18th, 2010, Mt. Gox was reborn. The innovation was simple: instant transactions, automated trust. It exploded. By 2011, this makeshift website handled 80% of all Bitcoin trading worldwide. Think about that. 80% of an entire global currency flowing through a site originally built for card games. It was the engine of the crypto revolution. But the engine was broken. McCaleb knew a secret. The code was a mess. It was spaghetti code. It couldn't handle the volume. It crashed constantly. He knew it was a ticking time bomb. So he did what any smart founder would do. He sold it. The buyer was Marc Carpel S., a 26-year-old French coder living in Tokyo. He didn't look like a CEO. He looked like a Redditor. He ran his business through a shell company called T-Ban, named after his cat. Mark bought Mt. Gox for practically nothing. No cash up front, just a promise to give McCaleb 12% of future revenue. It seemed like the deal of a lifetime. He was now the king of Bitcoin. But there was a detail missing from the contract, a detail worth 80,000 Bitcoins. Mt. Gox had already been hacked. Back in 2011, before Mark even walked in the door, hackers had stolen 80,000 coins from the hot wallet. The exchange was insolvent on day one. Mark had a choice. Option A, disclose the loss, shut it down, and blame the previous owner. Option B, hide it. He chose option B. He bet he could grow his way out of the debt. He thought he could make enough money in trading fees to cover the hole before anyone noticed. It was a gamble, and for a while, it worked. Mt. Gox became a money printer. By 2013, it was processing 150,000 Bitcoins a day. Mark moved into a luxury tower in Shibuya, paying $11,000 a month in rent. He bought a custom bed worth $40,000, but while Mark was playing CEO, the back door was wide open. The story everyone knows says Mt. Gox was hacked in a single dramatic event in 2014, like a bank robbery in a movie. That is false. The theft began in September 2011, and it continued, drip by drip, for 2 years. How? The culprit was a single file, wallet.dat. This file contained the private keys to the exchange's hot wallet. It was the keys to the vault. And incredibly, it was not encrypted. Hackers gained access to the server. They copied the file, but they were smart. They didn't drain it all at once. That would trigger alarms. Instead, they were patient. They wrote a script. Every time Mt. Gox refilled the hot wallet from cold storage, the hackers siphoned off a little bit. A few hundred coins here, 1,000 there, methodically, regularly, for 24 months. And no one inside Mt. Gox noticed. Why? Because Mark's custom software was broken. When the hacker stole coins, the system got confused. It interpreted the theft as deposits instead of seeing the balance go down. The system thought the exchange was getting richer. Mt. Gox was creating phantom Bitcoin, numbers on a screen that weren't backed by anything. Users were trading air, and the real Bitcoin, it was flowing straight to Russia. By mid 2013, the exchange was technically empty. Real Bitcoin reserves, near zero. Liabilities, massive. So, how did it survive another year? Two reasons: incompetence and manipulation. First, the incompetence. Mark Carpel S. wasn't fixing the code, he was distracted. He decided to build a Bitcoin cafe in the same building as the offices, while 650,000 Bitcoins were being drained. Mark was ordering a $35,000 French pastry oven. He was designing the menu. He was perfecting his quiche recipe. This is not a joke. He really did this. Second, the manipulation. Mark needed to hide the insolvency, so he deployed a bot. The community named it Willy. Willy was a trading bot running inside Mt. Gox. Every 5 to 10 minutes, Willy would wake up. It would buy $2.5 million worth of Bitcoin, but Willy didn't have any dollars. It was buying real Bitcoin with fake money, money that didn't exist in the bank, just numbers injected into the system's database. This massive artificial buying pressure pushed the price to the moon. Bitcoin went from $150 to $1,000 in weeks. The famous 2013 bull run, it was partly an illusion, fabricated to cover up a crime. You can only fake reality for so long. February 2014. The withdrawal stopped. Users panicked. Protesters gathered in the snow in Tokyo, holding signs. Where is our money? Then, the leak. A document titled Crisis Strategy Draft hit the internet. An internal memo from Mark. It admitted everything. Quote, the reality is that Mt. Gox can go bankrupt at any moment. Mark's solution in the document? Rebrand the company to just Gox. Start over. Hope people forget. It was delusional. On February 28th, Mt. Gox filed for bankruptcy. 850,000 bitcoins declared missing. 7% of all Bitcoin in existence vanished. Mark Carpel S. was arrested. He spent a year in a Japanese detention center. He lost 35 kilos, but ultimately he was found not guilty of embezzlement. He got a suspended sentence for data manipulation. He is a free man today. But who actually took the money? It took years, but the FBI finally traced the coins. They led to a Russian exchange called BTCE, run by a man named Alexander Vinnik. Vinnik was the mastermind. He laundered billions for hackers, drug dealers, and corrupt agents. He was eventually arrested on a beach in Greece in 2017. But his story didn't end in a prison cell. In a final twist, Alexander Vinnik was released in 2025. Part of a high-stakes prisoner swap between the US and Russia. He went home. And the 650,000 bitcoins? Most of them are gone forever, laundered into cash, yachts, and real estate. But the story doesn't end with the theft, Doma. It ends with the payout. The Japanese legal system moves slowly. For 10 years, the bankruptcy trustee held on to the few coins that were left, about 140,000 Bitcoin found in an old cold wallet Mark had forgotten about. Originally, the court planned to pay victims in Japanese yen based on the 2014 price. Victims fought this. They wanted the coins, and they won. The trustee began repayments. Victims are getting back about 21% of their coins, but just when they thought it was over, another delay. In October 2025, the trustee announced that the final deadline has been pushed, yet again, to October 2026. Still, for those patient enough to endure the wait, the math is undeniable. In 2014, Bitcoin was $500. In 2025, over $90,000. Because of the price explosion, that 21% is worth 4,000% more in dollar terms than their total balance in 2014. Mark Carpel S., through his sheer incompetence, forced his customers to become the greatest hodlers in history. He lost their coins and by accident made them rich. Eventually. That's the story. If this kind of investigation interests you, subscribe to Crento. Thanks for watching.